As the carnival lights flickered to life, casting eerie shadows across the dusty grounds, the night air was thick with anticipation as we stood outside the horror house, waiting for the next batch of patrons to dare themselves inside. My buddy, Raul, and I, both locals from a nearby barangay, donned our terrifying costumes, ready to elicit screams and laughter from those who ventured into our domain. Our job was simple: scare the living daylights of anyone who dared step foot inside the horror house and guide them through until they reached the exit door. It was a gig that paid the bills, even if it meant enduring the occasional punches or screams from overly frightened customers. One evening, the carnival was quieter than usual. Only a handful of patrons trickled into the horror house, but we remained undeterred, ready to give them the fright of their lives. Then he appeared, a man cloaked in a black hoodie, his presence ominous amidst the carnival lights. Raoul and I exchanged glances, silently agreeing to give this mysterious figure a taste of our scare tactics. As we launched at him from the shadows, unleashing our most blood-curdling screams, the man remained eerily calm, his laughter echoing through the dimly lit corridors. I could feel annoyance prickling beneath my skin. Rarely did our scares fail to elicit at least a gasp or nervous chuckle. Determined to unnerve him, we trailed behind as he navigated the labyrinth aisle of the horror house. Hoy! Raoul shouted after him, his voice laced with frustration, but the man merely paused to laugh before continuing on his way. Fueled by a mixture of irritation and curiosity, I reached out and lifted the hood of the man's cloak, eager to unmask the face behind the laughter. For a moment, all I saw was darkness, a void that seemed to swallow the feeble light around us. But then, as Raoul switched on his flashlight, the truth illuminated before us. The man's face, eerily familiar, yet twisted with malice, mirrored that of my own coworker, Raoul. The entity that we encountered is a confirmed doppelganger, sent to mock and torment us. Shock coursed through my veins like wildfire, igniting extreme fear that rooted me to the spot. As the doppelganger's laughter echoed in the confines of the horror house, I felt a crashing weight descend upon my chest, my breath coming in ragged gasps, while Raoul is holding his chest, and moments later, he collapsed on the floor while still wearing his scary skull mask. And then, in the blink of an eye, it was over. The doppelganger, still chuckling to himself, and slowly walked towards the exit door, leaving behind a trail of confusion and dread. My fear suppressed me to catch the being, and instead, I went outside, shouted for help. Unfortunately, the workers and a group of patrons who happened to be nurses tried their best to help and revive Raul, but it's already late. He suffered a massive heart attack and eventually died. This nightmare's encounter had left an indelible mark, one that would haunt my dreams and my waking hours alike. After I watched my coworker gasp his last breath, a chilling and ironic realization settled over me. Sometimes the most terrifying monsters are the ones that wear our own faces. My friend Paco and I went inside a jeepney headed to Project 6. It was 4 p.m. on a Thursday, so the passengers were all students. Judging by their uniforms, they were students from a private school. They were all focused with their cell phones, each with a different brand. What caught our attention was a female student holding the latest model of an iPhone. She called her classmates to take a group selfie. After she took her photo with her classmates, Paco and I knew our target. Paco immediately pulled out his gun and declared a holdup. The students started crying, and one even had an epilepsy attack. Paco was inexperienced, so his hands were shaking. When we got the iPhone from the student, another student launched at Paco. The big student put Paco in a rear naked chokehold while holding his gun, while I'm taking the student to free Paco. Due to Paco's nervousness, he accidentally fired his gun, hitting the female student who owned the iPhone that we took. The jeep suddenly stopped and Paco dropped his gun. The driver and students asked for help and I ran away. When I glanced back, I saw Paco being beaten by bystanders and other jeepney drivers. His face was badly bruised. I cried on my way home because I never thought it would escalate like this. I only needed the money because my younger sibling was in the hospital. But I need to set aside my conscience and think about how to pay for the hospital bill and get my sibling out of the hospital. I hurriedly went to my friend who fixes cell phones to unlock the stolen phone. My friend managed to do it, and before I erased its contents, I felt an urge to look at the photos of the student who got shot. One photo sent shivers down my spine. It was the group selfie with their classmates inside the jeepney just before Raul and I declared the holdup. In the photo, all the students were smiling, but the student who got shot had no head, and Raul was next to me in the background with no head as well.